Hi everybody, welcome to EdTech Insider. I'm Andrew Cohen, the founder of Brainscape. I am here for our first interview with Andy Lutz, who happens to be my business partner at Brainscape. How you doing, Andy?
I'm great, Andrew. How are you today?
I'm great. So, Andy, you were director of product at a little test prep company known as the Princeton Review for about a decade. Tell us, what's going on in test prep these days?
How long do we have? Do we have an hour? No. Yeah, I'd say three things off the top of my head. First, the consumers have more choices than ever, which sounds good. Unfortunately, so many of those choices are poor ones. The market sort of has to resettle. I assume we'll talk more about that in a minute. But the other sort of overarching trend is you'll see that consumers are increasingly choosing self-study solutions over the old traditional instructor-led models of test preparation that you and I grew up with.
Well, tell us a little bit more about these choices. Where are they coming from? Are you talking about different types of courses that you could take? Are you talking about different types of technologies? Are they being provided by startups, by big companies, by the government? What's driving this diversity?
Certainly, all of the above. 10 years ago, there were a couple of big companies, a few books in Barnes and Noble, and you could get tutored by the math teacher around the corner. Today, there are hundreds of all of the above, but really technology has driven this to the point where you can prepare for standardized tests of all varieties on any mobile device, on your PC, on an e-reader. I probably can prep on my watch, or I can probably grab something from Netflix. I don't know, but it's a bewildering array of choices that are in the market right now. Technology has certainly been one of the major drivers of that. Government has helped out as well too, with laws like No Child Left Behind. Test prep, which used to be sort of a dirty word in education, has almost become a standard practice as we're increasingly testing our students as they're going throughout their educational careers, and a lot of teachers are unfortunately teaching to many of these standardized tests. So test prep has become almost ubiquitous and mundane.
So when you talk about these choices, it almost sounds like you have a little bit of a negative ring to it. You usually think of more choices as a good thing, right? You get to identify a specific consumer need. Is choice in test prep a bad thing, or is it dependent on the types of choices that there are?
I guess some of my socialist friends may be peeking up saying, "What is Andy changing his stripes here?" No, it's going to take a little time for the market to settle out. I mean, right now it's sort of like technology has made possible all this exotic test prep genetic engineering, and we've got all these weird gizmo of the week solutions running around like test prep with 3 eyes and 5 heads, and it sounds good this week, but it's not clear that it's based in the best cognitive science and the way people really learn, and the market's just overwhelmed with so many choices. I mean, if you go to iTunes and try to do SAT prep, you find several hundred different choices, and 90% of them are really poor learning experiences, and that's unfortunate. It's a crappy game, or reading text on your phone, and it's almost like because technology is one of the drivers, we've lost touch with some of the basic educational principles that are around how people learn most effectively. It'll take some time, and in the future, I think that'll settle out.
So what's winning? I mean, you mentioned that students are seeking to learn more on their own versus learn in classrooms, but are there certain types of solutions that are sort of emerging as the leaders in the consumer market? Are people looking for more games? Are they looking for different types of quizzes or learning environments? What seems to be the winner these days?
Well, as much as I wish I had the patience that my parents had, and I certainly wish that my son and daughter had the patience that even I have, we're sort of almost an ADD culture, and the idea of sitting in a classroom for 4 straight hours without using your cell phone is pretty irritating to many folks in today's classrooms, and so learning has to evolve as our culture evolves, and consumers are increasingly choosing self-study solutions, many of them exotic, because frankly, with the way the world is today, I would rather learn vocabulary for 5 minutes on my mobile phone than sit in a classroom for 4 hours. And I promise you, today's teenagers or young college students feel the same way. And that's the trend we're seeing. Is Princeton Review and Kaplan are still selling a lot of classroom courses. Don't get me wrong, but they're both shrinking and struggling as public companies, and in some ways they've been slow to react to these trends that we're discussing.
Well, believe me, Andy, talking about breaking learning into its fundamental chunks and having more convenient small study breaks is preaching the choir with me, and that's why I started the idea of Brainscape. Is that what drew you to the company and to want to work with us? What are the main reasons that you're with Brainscape to begin with, and leaving, a company like Princeton Review or like the corporate e-learning industry that you also had spent some time in?
Yeah, it's and if anything I said makes it sound like I'm anti-technology and education, that's the furthest thing from the truth. What I'm for is for the efficient use of technology and education, and Brainscape is focused on helping folks learn, absorb information, and retain it as efficiently as possible. And that doesn't have to be some weird, exotic. The computer adapts to every mouse click you make and reacts. Sometimes there are just some tried and true ways to learn how to add fractions or how to absorb facts or vocabulary words, and Brainscape is bringing that to bear in its learning platform, and I think we can serve a lot of different students in a variety of different ways to help them learn and retain information using the latest in both technology and cognitive science.
I mean, I'd like to think that with more and more to learn these days, as our knowledge base increases and as the stakes get higher, efficiency should become greater and greater on everyone's radar screen of what's important to them. So it's a good thing that our interests and passions are aligned there.
Now, I
Um,
know I don't have any time, so if something can help me get something done 2 or 3 times as fast, learn something 2 or 3 times as efficiently, it's going to be appealing to me. And I think that's true for many of the students, most of the students in this day and age.
we all want to play more and study less, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I know I want to get you back to working on saving the world with Brainscape. So I'll wrap it up with one last question. Tell us, where do you see where the next couple of years are headed in test prep? Where are we going to be in 10 years?
Well, I hope, even though technology continues to evolve and new exotic solutions, gizmos of the week will continue to pop up, I hope that consumers and educators that things will start to standardize a bit around the most efficient, effective solutions. Right now, the market is just overwhelmed with options, and it's going to take some time for sort of survival of the fittest and the best solutions to reestablish themselves. I mean, 20 years ago there were just 2 companies. Now there are hundreds, if not thousands. I think it'll settle out a bit, and I'm confident that Brainscape will be one of those left standing in the years ahead to provide tools in the test prep market and obviously well beyond.
Well, it'll be fun to watch the Darwinian shakeout in the education industry and be here right on the inside. So if anyone out there wants to follow us, please keep watching these videos. We got lots more exciting interviews to come, and we've got lots of great stuff on our website. So check out our blog, our website, find us on iTunes and on Twitter, and enjoy. Thank you again, Andy.
Thank you, Andrew.